Welcome to the first public consultation event for the Portarlington Flood Relief Scheme. This is on behalf of Laois County Council, Offaly County Council and the Office of Public Works. Presenting this public consultation is myself, Barry Dunphy, Project Manager for the scheme with Nicholas O'Dwyer's, and Jamie Reynolds, Deputy Project Manager with Binny's. As a background to the scheme, Portarlington was identified as an area of further assessment in the Barrow Catchment Flood Risk Assessment and Management, or CFRAM study. Binny's and Nicholas O'Dwyer joint venture were appointed in September 2020 to provide engineering and environmental services for the Portarlington Flood Relief Scheme. To the right, we have the rough programme for the scheme, which is over a 5-year period, commencing in 2020, September 2020, which is the stage 1. And working through until 2025 and 2026. You can see from the programme that it is estimated that construction works will begin in 2024 and should be completed with the flood relief scheme in position in 2025. As a background to who we are a joint venture consisting of Binny's, who are a 100-year-old brand relaunched in 2021, previously known as Black & Veatch. They have 1,200 employees globally and are part of the RSK group since January 2021. Nicholas O'Dwyer are an Irish company founded in 1932 with over 200 staff in Ireland, with our headquarters in Dublin, Newry, Birmingham, Tanzania and Zambia. We joined the RSK group in March 2020. Both Binny's and Nicholas O'Dwyer have been working together on flood relief schemes in Ireland since 2014. Just a brief outline of the project stages involved with the flood relief scheme. So stage 1, the stage we're currently at, is options assessment and scheme development. The options assessment involves hydrological analysis, which is currently completed, topographic and CCTV surveys, which are in progress, hydraulic modelling of the river system and the drainage areas, which is in progress, environmental surveys and assessments also currently being undertaken. And following this, then, we have the options and the scheme development, and that is due to commence on completion of the hydraulic modelling. Following this is stage 2 planning, where we get consent from the competent body for the scheme that we are proposing to carry out. And following this, stage 3, we have detailed construction design and tender, followed by construction and followed by handover to Laois County Council. Just as an outline, the location map, Portarlington, is obviously on the border between Laois and Offaly and adjacent to Counties Kildare. And we see here the area of study dashed in black line called the Area for Further Assessment, which came from the CFRAM study. I'll hand you over now to my colleague, Jamie Reynolds, and he'll go through the details of what's been carried out to date and what's due to be carried out in the coming months and years.
Thanks, Barry. This image here shows the LiDAR, so the topography of the area around Portarlington itself. So we can see the area is most heavily influenced by the Barrow, which flows from west to east through the town of Portarlington, around the Bend, and a number of tributaries, in particular the Black Sticks, joining the Barrow at Portarlington. We've got the area of higher land over towards Killinard as well, directing flow towards Portarlington. The town of Portarlington itself was founded in 1666 and sits on the Laois-Offaly border, and at the last count had a population of about 8,500. Looking at the CFRAM study, it identified approximately 144 properties at risk in Portarlington study area, of which 42 of these were commercial properties and 102 of these were residential properties. The aim of this scheme is to protect properties from a 1% annual exceedance from a fluvial or river flood event, which is approximately a 1 in 100 event. It's estimated that this will result in approximately 7 million investment in flood protection works in the town of Portarlington. The scheme itself is going to be designed to be sustainable and adaptable to climate change where possible, and also incorporate public realm enhancements in the town. For some context, these are the flood outlines as produced in CFRAM. So the darker blue area is the estimate for a 10% flood event. The medium blue color is a 1 in 100 year event, or 1%, and the light blue is a 0.1% or 1 in 1,000 year estimated event. So these are the outline results that CFRAM's produced. We're now looking at these in a lot more detail, a lot more finer level of modelling and new surveys as well to really get an accurate picture of the flooding in Portarlington. The option that CFRAM's ultimately proposed at a high level involved a lot of hard defences to keep water in the Barrow and the Black Sticks and prevent flooding from the properties in Portarlington. Where this scheme relooks at the options and relooks at the modelling with the latest data to really kind of refine the option and the solution for Portarlington. In terms of works completed to date, on the engineering side, we've completed topographic surveys of approximately just 440 properties. There's been 393 channel cross-section surveys, including 19 bridges, 39 culverts, and 1 weir. We've also got CCTV, which is camera surveys of manholes and along a kilometre of culverts in Portarlington. The image on the right shows just an extract from the modelling and all the modelled water courses upstream of Portarlington and how they're contributing to the Barrow and to the water coming through Portarlington itself. On the hydrology side, we've looked at historic flood analysis and latest hydrometric data. The image on the right shows the rainfall gauges in Portarlington, in the surrounding area of Portarlington. So we've used data where available up to 2021 and the latest meteorological data as well. The graph on the left shows an example of a gauging station review. So there's a number of gauging stations on the Barrow and one actually in Portarlington itself, which records water levels throughout the year and flows. So we've used that to really calibrate the model and get the most kind of realistic and accurate picture of what's happening and extrapolate further for the larger events as well. On the hydraulic side, so we're now carrying out detailed hydraulic modelling. So in CFRAM's, watercourses with a catchment of less than 1 kilometre squared were not modelled. They were too small, but in part of this study they are included. So the image on the right shows in green the 2 watercourses that were modelled under the CFRAM study. And under this project, we're, in addition to those watercourses in more detail, we're looking at these blue and red culverts and drains and smaller watercourses to really give an accurate picture of the flooding in Portarlington. We're also carrying out joint probability analysis, which really looks at the combination effect of river flooding and rainfall flooding in the area, and how they would have different peaks and times and response times. An element that is looked at as part of this project is what's called natural water retention measures, which in essence looks at it at a catchment level, looking at more sustainable natural ways of reducing runoff reduction from the land and possibly providing floodplain storage to really deal with or reduce the flows before they even get to the town. This is done, as I said, at a catchment level, and we'll be producing maps similar to the extract there from a different project, which shows really and targets where these responses will have the best effect using a heat map such as that. On the environmental side, so environmental studies and baseline surveys are part of this scheme. We have currently completed breeding snipe and bat surveys in the area, and currently underway are habitat, fish, otter, badger, and invasive species surveys. These will all form part of the design of the option and inform the constraint study, which has just been completed as well on the project. There's also a landscape and visual impact assessment is currently underway for the scheme. The image on the right shows, for example, the environmental protection zone, the SAC SPA along the Barrow itself in the hatched area. The pink areas are areas of protected under the National Monuments Act. So the areas of notification. So Portarlington has a real historic core which will be taken into account. The blue dots are National Inventory of Architectural Heritage properties, and the red are protected recorded monuments. What's next? So is really continue with the detailed hydraulic modelling. This will then lead into the options assessment, which is a kind of bottom-up assessment on how to solve the flooding in the area. These options and combinations of options, be it embankments or walls or storage and softer measures, will all be kind of assessed from environmental, social, economic categories to really come and recommend a preferred option, which will then be taken forward to a more detailed design ready for planning in the next stage. In parallel with this is also the AAs, NIS, and environmental impact assessments as required for the scheme. On the public and stakeholder engagement side, so we have a dedicated project website at floodinfo.ie/PortarlingtonFRS, a dedicated project email address to contact us in the project team at PortarlingtonFRS@binis.com. There's a briefing note is issued frequently to elected members in Laois and Offaly, and also a public newsletter is issued frequently. There's a dedicated postal address if you wish to contact us using that method as well. We'd be happy to come answer any queries. There are 2 public consultation days as part of this stage of the project. The initial one, which is the initial views and inputs. So it's really to kind of introduce ourselves and show what the plan is for the project and get your thoughts on this scheme, what you'd like to see, what you wouldn't like to see, what have you been affected by flooding in the area, where you take that all on board as we're really looking at the options. Once we actually have kind of lines on a map and an emerging option coming out, we'll be having a second public consultation day where we'll be presenting the maps and the drawings to get your input into them as well, and that's estimated in spring of 22. For this public consultation, so there is a leaflet. This is an extract from it here, which will be available in local council offices and libraries, which provides a bit more information on the scheme. There will be newspaper ads directing you to this presentation and also to our website and how to get in touch with us. There'll be posters on the right there in public places around the town too. The key input we want back from you on this is a questionnaire. So there's a hard copy questionnaire available in the council offices that can be posted back to us, or there is the same questionnaire as an interactive online questionnaire available through our project website as well, just to really, as I said, get your thoughts on a flood scheme in the area. If you have any further questions or comments or thoughts about the scheme, feel free to contact myself and Barry through the project email address there, which is PortarlingtonFRS@binis.com, and we'll be happy to come back to you with any comment, with any answers or responses that we have there. So thanks, and we look forward to hearing from you.